not enough. What am I looking at? That's what I'm looking at. And that. Probably gonna get rid of. Just keep that blank. Here we go. So I got baptized as a Christian a little over a year ago, and I wanted to talk about that. I had time to reflect while I was at a Greek Orthodox church, and I thought my soul quest was done when I got baptized, and I was like, I figured it out. I've arrived. That's why I wrote the book. And sure enough, I was not done. Completely forgot about how many different denominations there were, and that didn't bug me, because I was like, alright, coming from a Mormon background, you just lump all the Christian denominations together and separate yourself, and now it's weird that they're trying to be like, they want to be accepted by the group they've said are the heretics for so long. Anyway, I just, for Christmas, just wanted to go visit a Greek Orthodox church. I had never been to one before. So I just popped in, having done zero research, and it was not what I expected. It was 2 hours of standing, and there's protocols to it, and like you can't walk up the main aisle, so the way you sit, or you choose a seat. Like, anyway, so I started to look into Greek Orthodox, and then I came across the Coptic Christians. And shortly after, Heliocentric released his video about visiting Egypt and meeting with the Coptic Christians. There's so much I don't know, and I know that's part of the cycle where you circle and then there's valleys of like, oh, I know this, I don't know anything. Oh, I'm starting to understand this. Oh, I got it. Oh, I don't know anything. But mostly just wanted to reflect on the past year, because me 2 or 3 years ago I'm still anti-religion. I gotta clarify that. I don't follow Christianity, I follow Christ, and I'm just curious by these other denominations. My experience with Christianity was this, and this was a gift that I was given before I went on my mission. Bam! See, I know what I'm talking about, guys, when I talk about Mormon stuff. This was a gift set that I was given by my grandma, and I didn't want to mark it up, because it was just so nice. So I had a set from when, like, a child, I think I got baptized at 8, they give you your own set. And I had that on my mission, and that just got marked up and destroyed. And then when I left the church, I threw it in the trash, and I was like, I don't want anything to do with this religion. But these two things I just couldn't get rid of for whatever reason. Yeah, I threw these in a box, and then I started writing Soul Quest. I pulled them back out because I had to resource it. But yeah, now I get asked, why do you keep it? It's because it's so just, it's part of my history. It's part of my story. And that's my blood. If you can see it. Wait. My blood's in there in the end. But you probably can't see it. But anyway, I've got stickers. I was gonna get US serving, I was gonna get a California sticker. Didn't get around to it. So there's memories, there's stories, there's character growth from this experience. So I kept it. And that was the extent of my scripture and knowledge for the longest time. And then I got baptized. I was given this Holy Bible, ESV version, and I really didn't do much with it. I haven't marked any of it up. I moved over to the Blue Letter Bible app. I've been using that a lot. And I'm just a King James person. Like, so this became my new one. It's a New King James. I'm just a fan of the old English language, probably because I studied Shakespeare for so long and I could just understand it. But when talking with other people and the translations I was doing in my head, I was effectively taking the King James and turning it into the New King James anyway. So I might as well just read the New King James. So to help me do that, I got this study Bible, and I just barely got it. I'm a baby Christian. I'm doing my best. The King James version, just clean, nothing related to the LDS faith at all, just a clean version, separate from that. And I'm a nerd. When I get like in something, I go down the deep rabbit hole. This is actually the first Bible I purchased on my spiritual journey. It was the Geneva Bible, 1560 edition with the Apocrypha. I don't think it's legit, because here's the front, but then the spine makes you flip it. And then there's sections missing from Genesis or Exodus. Like a whole section of the Moses Exodus story that's just missing. So I don't know if this is part of the Geneva Bible. I'm still learning again, but I know that an authentic one is like $1,500, sometimes $5,000. They're nuts. This is the best I got. I tried to mark it up as best I could to find stuff. I wanted to go through Enoch. I don't know. This has become more of just a placement holder, I guess. But this one, Thomas Nelson came out with this not too long ago. And it's a 1611 King James version. And it's a 1611 King James version. And it has the old English lettering, and I think they changed the F to the actual one, because back then it was TH sound? Nope, yeah, I don't know. It's part of the history. It's a cool book. I am not going to mark this up at all. It's going to stay in its cover. It's going to stay on the shelf. And it's going to stay over there. Now, something I never thought I would ever purchase, something I never thought I'd own, something I didn't even know existed, really, until I started doing research on Soul Quest, was the Joseph Smith version of the Bible. And it's available at Deseret Book. So this is canon in the Mormon, whatever. So can't say it doesn't exist. Because you have part of it in the back of the Book of Abraham's in it, and it's part of this too. But here's just what's gross. So you can see it line up, right? This is James version. This is Joseph Smith's translation. So for Isaiah 29, it kind of keeps up with it, kind of matches it, but then starts throwing in stuff from 2nd Nephi and just goes on and on and on. And you just read the Great Isaiah Scroll and none of this is there. So we'll get into my issues with Joseph Smith in a later video. And that's what I want to talk about, is the future of this channel that I really didn't use much. It was mostly for my coaching videos, and I've stepped away from that. I don't know. I started coaching myself, and Ikigai is about finding your purpose. To do that, you find what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at. So there's passion, mission, vocation, profession, and that's your Ikigai. And that's kind of what I'm trying to find. Because coaching was fun, I enjoyed helping people, I got burned out by the content creation, and I got sick and tired of doing the jobs that these people's fathers refused to do. That was what a lot of coaching was just picking up where dads just didn't do their damn job. And then I got to the point where I switched from mental health to holistic, because I started to learn that mind, body, and soul was really important. And when I started to dive back into the soul work, where I was at was Daoism. And that worked so well for me, but it didn't work for a lot of others, which was weird, because Daoism is all about finding balance. Yin and yang, balance with nature, wu-wei, go with the flow of life, that was it. And some people just couldn't grasp it. And others did so well when I was like, especially if they're a Christian, it was easy to just be like, just do what Jesus would tell you to do. Go to verses and be like, hey, like it's in, like I was just teaching the Bible to people, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I stepped away. I finished up clients, and I just didn't put any more effort. I got a couple referrals, and I was like, look, I'm not really your guy. Push them on other people. I stepped away. What I'm passionate about is truth. That was obvious from writing the book and just going through my journals, is I care about the truth. I care about facts. And it's good to know I don't have confirmation bias, because if I did, I'd still be Mormon. And if I was able to break that confirmation bias, then I would have been Luciferian. I've got it up here somewhere. Satanic Bible was where I went after. No, I was more agnostic and just spiritual. Thought that Jesus was just like this higher knowledge dude and was trying to teach us something that we just couldn't quite comprehend. So the ancient Jews wrote it in a language that they could comprehend, which was God, Father, Yahweh. That's what I thought. So I was open to everything. And I came across a Satanist, and she had a much cooler version of this book. It was leather bound and, well, what do you want to call it? Crafted it up. Read the book if you want to know about Lucy, is what I named her, because I don't remember her name. It was so long ago, I don't remember her name, and Lucy the Luciferian was just catchy, so that's just what stuck. But having the Enemy's Playbook is eye-opening, because there's stuff in here that I aligned with and agreed with. Like, striking your enemy first so hard that they wouldn't dare strike you again, or if they do strike you, you strike them back even harder type of thing. It's not the turn the other cheek, it's the you smack me, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you so you never consider smacking me again. And that's so empowering, except you create a lot of enemies that way. So, that doesn't quite fly. There it is, the Tao Te Ching. This thing, I'm gonna read the Tao Te Ching as it is, and this is Stephen Mitchell, so the English version, the new English version. There was something formless and perfect before the universe was born. It is serene, empty, solitary, unchanging, infinite, eternally present. It is the mother of the universe. For lack of a better name, I call it the Tao. I'm going to change 2 words. There was something formless and perfect before the universe was born. It is serene, empty, solitary, unchanging, infinite, eternally present. It is the creator of the universe. For lack of a better name, I call it God. They're so close. And it's an Eastern religion, Eastern philosophy, far away from Jerusalem and all the Abrahamic faiths. And they were still getting so close to what Abrahamic Christians and Jews and Islamic people believe, is that there's God, a higher being, something. And they called it Tao because they didn't have a name for it. They didn't have a Moses or anyone else out there. They were just like, there's something in the universe that's higher than us, that's kept everything in order. I don't know what to call it. I'm going to call it Tao. That's basically what happened in the Eastern world. And I could go on. It's beautiful philosophy and a beautiful religion. The ancient one, like Daoism, before like all the other gods started coming into it and it became more like Hinduism. Before all that influence, just the blank slate Daoism is my favorite religion, favorite spiritual belief, favorite of all, whatever you want to put into it. So if I had confirmation bias, I would be rooting for this and pushing this. In my research and experience, this turned out to not be the truth. As much as I wanted it to be. It's definitely not this. I've gone through this. It's a slog. Because it's not written like the Bible or the Book of Mormon. And the way this is written, it's from longest book to shortest book. So you're not getting... Yeah, it kind of jumps around. It's a little confusing at first if you don't know that. Because I was reading through it and I'm like, why does it take them so long to bring up literally anything? So much of it is just the fools among the people will say what hath turned them from Qibla to which they were used to say Allah alone. Yeah, anyway, that's one thing I miss, is not having any skin in the game. When I was Daoist and even just agnostic, I could approach everything and just be neutral and be like, hey, maybe they're all correct and maybe they're all wrong, but they're all trying to explain the purpose and this experience, this earth dance. They're trying to give a purpose to it. So I was like, hey, everyone's got their own lore to this world. Tell me about it. And that opened me up to such a cool experience and so many cool people. I got to experience paganism, get really into the nitty-gritty of it, and talk with some Wicca and experience some witchcraft. So Christians are going to probably, they're going to cringe at that and be like, oh, you opened doors and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, I did. I was rewarded so much and I was such a good person that the argument of being a good person doesn't matter to me anymore. Because I've met plenty of good Satanists, plenty of good Buddhists, plenty of good Muslims, plenty of good Mormons, plenty of good Christians, plenty of good atheists. So being a good person is just a good trait to have, period. But one thing I do know for sure is that my library has expanded, my worldview has expanded, my experience has expanded. As much as I want to go back to being an atheist and a Taoist and be neutral in this, what I know means I can't. It was easy to discredit the Bible and ignore all what was happening in the world when I didn't believe in it. I didn't believe in it up until about 2 years ago. I thought it was just a historical document where events were taking place, they documented it, and they used this higher power they called Yahweh to explain what was happening. And Joel Kramer, who wrote this book, Where God Came Down, there you go. I had a video a long time ago, but I just happened to come across it one night, and I learned even more so about how accurate the Bible was, and how the archaeologists were finding places that I never knew existed that are in the Bible. Like Like, I thought Sodom and Gomorrah was just a tale. Turns out there's 5 cities, 4 of them were destroyed, one of them still lives, and you can go visit them. Is it hard evidence proof? Maybe not. They don't have a sign with letters NHM on them. By the way, Mormons who are defending the letters NHM for Nahum need to understand that in that part of the world, you would have read right to left, so the letters would have been MHN. So even your Nahum argument's wrong. There is a Mormon influence who I am going to go after. There's several. I'm just going to combat all their lies, especially the ones about ex-Mormons. That one, oof, that is going to be my new content. That's what this channel is going to be, is me going after the truth and calling out the liars. But right now it's just me reflecting, putting it out, testing out my video and audio equipment, and just kind of feeling things out. I'll get there. This was a lot of rambling, a whole lot of nothing. Being a Christian is just not what I expected. And they talk about, I don't know, Christians kept me away from Christ for over a decade, for about a decade. And Christians are still making it really hard to be a Christian, to say you're a Christian. I miss being able to get in a conversation with someone and challenging their worldview and having them go, "What are you, a Christian?" And me going, "No." And watching their whole demeanor change. And then the conversation could actually happen. But now I have to say, yes, I am. And then I have to prepare for all the accusations and arguments that they're prepared for, that I have to go through before I can reach that point where I can actually have a conversation with them. That I miss so much. And I feel like I did a better job bringing people closer to God as an atheist, agnostic, and Daoist than I ever have as a Christian, because people were willing to listen to someone other than a Christian. And I don't know how to approach people anymore, but I'm going to be as genuine and as authentic as I can. And I'm going to take you on my journey with me. I'm going to be retracing steps. I'm going to be going through a whole bunch of stuff that I thought I was certain about. I'm going to do documentary styles, what I find interesting, and what I think matters. Because if you believe in this, if you believe that there is a God and an afterlife, and that your soul exists, and then your soul matters, and I believe it does. I wish I could put my head back in the sand and be like, when we die, it's just nothingness. That was so comforting. Now I know. I don't know how I know, but I know that what we do in this life is going to matter for the next one. There's a knowingness. That is how I can explain my relationship with God and how I can discern the difference between a human, a demon, the devil, and God. And God is a knowingness. There was a knowingness when I asked him, before I served a mission, I got down and I prayed and I was like, hey, God, I need to know, is the church true and should I serve a mission? And that knowingness was so strong, so clear that yes, I need to serve a mission because I'll learn the truth then. I can't deny that experience. I can explain hallucinations. I can explain some weird experiences. I can even explain me being emotional on a bench outside Salt Lake Temple, begging to just be heard and being ignored by all these happy families. Whether they were Mormon or not, I'm assuming they were because it was Temple Square. And it was a homeless person that walked by and turned around and said, hey, are you okay? That could just be them noticing. But even she admitted that something told her to turn around. I can't explain that other than spiritual experience. Because I don't believe in coincidences anymore. I don't believe the historical narrative that we've been spoon-fed. Those in power are going to lie to keep the power. The truth shall set us free. So I'm going to go search for the truth. And I'm going to share it with you. I clearly don't have a confirmation bias. I have Bill Nye's undeniable book that I loved, that I would throw in Christians' faces. I would use the Bill Nye argument of, Australia is a fascinating place. There is literally animals, birds, creatures that you can only find in Australia and then like section of the world. And then you can't find them anywhere else. There's no fossil record of them. So no kangaroo hopped from Mount Ararat to Australia. I can't explain that yet. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll find someone who can't. But I know there's stuff like the scientists make a good point. I read Richard Dawkins' God Delusion. He makes really good points. That's why I stayed atheist for so long. It wasn't a whim. Like, it wasn't like I was an OF chick who saw the writing on the wall and was like, oh, here's a whole nother market that I can tap into. I don't care about being right. I hate being wrong. But it happens a lot. So I'm used to it. I'm used to Christians not calling me Christian because I grew up Mormon. And I'm used to Christians not calling me Christian because I talked about Daoism, because I know that there is positive aspects to them. And I also know that Satan is not opposed to good works. And he will reward his followers. All he wants to do is get people aware of the hypocrisy of Christians and use that as a wedge so they can conflate their issues with Christians onto Christ. That's all he wants to do. My issues with God got conflated to my issues with the Mormon Church. This one. My issues with the Mormon Church got conflated onto God. It's in the playbook. You don't have to read it as a Christian. I recommend you do, just so you're aware. Sun Tzu's Art of War. Know thy enemy. Of course you don't have to. You can just stick to this. I understand there is power in sticking to just this. But your conversations are really boring. Like, if all you're going to talk about is the Bible, Lord of the Rings, I'm not even sure if you can see that. Yeah. I'm all for it. But if that's all you're going to talk about, and you're going to talk about how Aragorn is a Jesus character, when Tolkien clearly said there is no allegories in his stuff, it's frustrating to talk to you. Because I can't have an honest conversation with you, because it's just intellectually just... Blah. Anyway, that's been my rant. That's been the notice of this channel. I care about this too much to not do something. Does the world need this? Yes. They need the truth, and there's plenty of people out there that are exposing the truth, but there's so many people out there who are throwing misinformation left and right, and there's a lot of people who have good intentions who are spreading false information because they are afraid to look at the truth. That's what I'm going to do. That's actually the subject I should probably touch on, is the Constitution, why it was written, and how it was written because America 1.0 failed. It's a rabbit hole. Anyway, I think my next one, it's going to be this, because nobody talks about it. And when you read this, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, start to wonder. Anyway, I'm Brendan. This is my soul quest. And this is my collection of books. I got my nerds books, I got my Bible books, I've got other religious stuff, self-help. Not even all of it. But this is the start of a channel. It's ugly, it's messy. I already know a million things I gotta do better, but it's about just making the stuff and putting it out there. So, do this again. I'm Brendan, and this is my soul quest. My quest is for truth. I'm gonna take you along with me.